Hi everybody, it's Pam with Silver and Sparkles, and I'm excited because I'm working with the brand new October kit by Pink Monarch Prints. This one is called Lost in Florence, and I have so many ideas I want to do with this kit. I just love it. The fall colors, the fussy cuts, the butterflies, the quotes. Anyway. So today what we're going to do is I have two samples, but I have several ideas I'm going to share. I'm going to share ideas for journal toppers for the covers. So things that you might want to put on the cover of a journal, or you could use these on a journal page, right? Or even turn them into like jumbo tags, or we could make smaller ones. But let me just show you. I pulled out, and I'm not sure I would use one of these on this journal, but I don't know if you guys remember this patchwork journal that we're working on. I need to get back to it. I have several I need to get to and finish, and then get them in my Etsy shop in case someone's interested. But see how you can make these and then place them. I actually kind of like this one on here. Now, I'm not sure I want to cover up all of my patchwork. I may want to do something a little different for this particular journal, but I just wanted to give you an idea. And then I probably have others in progress that might have been a better option. And this is that journal that's a little different because all the pages are collaged. But again, something like this on one of the page, you can install it to be a pocket, a side load, or even an angled. So lots of things that you can do with these, and I get requests all the time for ideas of what to put on the front of our journals. So these are two using the large butterflies and then some of the smaller ones. I used a quote. This one, live life to the very fullest, and this one says, it always seems impossible until it is done, Nelson Mandela. So the little bird stamp. So anyway, just fun and easy to use with this particular kit. Now, if you don't have this kit, you can use other papers and get the same kind of idea of kind of the number of elements and how we're going to put these together. All right. So I have lots of butterflies cut, so we'll probably do another butterfly, but I'm also I have some other ideas too. So I do have some papers prepped in here on my workspace. There was a page in the kit that had these two cards, and those were the two I just showed you that I made them on, and I thought they really lent themselves to a nice collage surface. But some of these pages are going to do great as well, where you can cut them, again, depending on the size you need. And then I had an idea for a journal that I picture maybe being oriented differently. So let's just go with, if I was going to do a journal like this, that perhaps either then opened this way or was this size, and then, same thing, the pages, though, flipped open like this. I don't know if that made sense, but we're gonna do a journal topper that is oriented on this horizontal because I have an idea. Now, in this kit, there were a bunch of hearts and these beautiful circles. So I want to do at least one with each of these, again, to give you ideas of how to think about different journal toppers. So the hearts, and I haven't done anything with them yet, but I was thinking it might be fun to layer, I don't know which one I want. I think that's a little too dark. To layer them like this. So I can get them inked. We could get them glued down. And then I'm almost thinking of weaving a ribbon, or again, I have what I did with like the quotes and things and some of these types of bits is I went ahead and just cut them into strips so that when I pick something I want to use, I just have to cut it off. It's a little bit easier for me to find the one I want than having a bunch of teeny tiny pieces. It says, whoever is happy will make others happy too. I definitely believe that. Keep moving forward. do what you love and love what you do. See, even this, like going across here, I think would be really pretty. So let me get this trimmed off. And again, I will link this kit for you. This is the one you can do a subscription, a monthly subscription, and that is the most economical. Or you can buy the kits in Pink Monarch Prints Etsy shop. And so I will link that for you. And they run good coupons and different things on occasion. So if you aren't a monthly subscriber, but you like one of their monthly kits or some of their monthly kits, you know, you may want to wait when there's a good coupon sale. But I will link that for you. Okay, and I haven't made my October videos yet that I'll do as a guest designer over on Pink Monarch's channel, but I think I am going to do some type of, at least for one of them, some type of journal. And so let me know if y'all are interested, and maybe I'll make one for their channel with this kit, with this kind of orientation, you know, a little different. And then we could maybe use one of the journal toppers that I make on there. So anyway, let me know what you think. I'm still getting my ideas together. It's always fun when a new kit comes out. I usually do something like this when the big kits like that first come out, and I'm trying to come up with ideas and things I know I want to make with it. And sometimes the kits are like, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is definitely a new favorite. And I love this one. I love the color palette. It's fall, but it's not in your face fall, if that makes sense. And I love fall, and I like in your face, but this one you can use like multiple seasons and with other papers and things. So it's definitely making me happy. All right. Now, and again, when I put this on this paper, I just folded it in half. I can always cut it so it's only one layer. I could glue it together and make it be a cover. There's just so many options. Now, another thing is, do I want to layer these hearts where they're kind of perfect on top of the smaller heart on the larger heart, and then decide how to do it? Or do I want them, you know, a little crazy? I think I want them lined up nicely. But a little crazy might be pretty too. So try different things. And again, if you don't have this particular paper kit, you can cut hearts out of paper you like and do something similar, right? I tend to, I love crafting with hearts, and I tend to not do as much once we get past Valentine's. And I don't know why. They don't have to be just for Valentine's Day. So I'm really glad. I think Elena did this kit. I'm not sure, but Anna and Elena, that they put some hearts in this time. Okay. Now, just have to decide, you know, do I want the center heart on top? Do I want to kind of do like that, where it's the one is underneath and then this one's layered on top and this one on top here? Lots of choices. Okay. I think, and again, do I want to center it? If I center it on this paper, I have options again where I can trim it down or add additional embellishments. So I think I will center it on the page. Now, I am using today walnut stain. It's the Distress Oxide, but you could use just the regular Distress ink. That's the one I grabbed. All right, I'm gonna glue these down. I'm gonna glue them down. And then we'll see where we're at. Thank you guys for taking a few minutes to spend some time with me today. I really appreciate it. And I hope that you get some ideas and that you have fun. If you enjoy the video, please don't forget to give me that thumbs up. It's super quick and easy. And if you have another second to spare, drop me a comment. all of those things really make a difference, and I appreciate you guys. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. I hope you will come back and consider subscribing and hang out with us. We have fun. All right, I think I'm going to bring that to right there. Now, I have some words. Now, to me, that is just so pretty, just like that. We can add lace, we can add washi tape, we can add ribbons, we could get a strip. And again, I don't think this is the right color, but I printed those because I love those strips. I'm reaching behind me to see what I have in my I have multiple baskets going on of ribbon. And I'm going to put this one aside for right now. Sometimes you just don't know until you lay the ribbon down if you're going to like it with it. I kind of like this one, but who knows, right? And it might be pretty just with an ivory bow. And again, I could look at my seam binding, right? We could look at that because that's always fun. Look, it's fun. And there's multiple colors that would probably look good with this paper kit. It's a little different green. I don't think I like that one. I mean, I like it, but not with that paper. Da-da-da, what am I doing? I also have some of this fun lace. See, just so many directions we can go and add a little punch, right? Just a little bit of a punch. I think I'm going to stay in I love my seam binding rut. It's not a bad rut to be in. It's really not. It's not a bad place. I'm going to keep, though, that one over there. I'm going to keep it out. And we are going to set this out of our way. For some reason, I keep kind of going to this one, which I know doesn't add color, but it just really seems to go well. So, there's nothing like watching somebody take a ton of time picking out the perfect piece of ribbon, right? And I haven't decided if I want where I want to put it. I kind of like the idea of, you know, having it kind of over here and bringing things to the right. It just feels like there's not enough if I put it over there. Yeah, I'm going to put it right here. So I do have my hot glue. I just don't have it on my desk, but it is ready to go. And hopefully it's going to stay on that little shelf and not cause a problem. Okay. Very nice. Now, I'm not going to worry about this being like this. I'm just going to leave it. I could even make this the journal cover. I could layer something in here, sew in a small signature. I'm kind of liking the idea, though, of doing maybe a no-sew or a tab style where the pages turn this way. But I don't have to decide now. So I'm going to set this one aside. And then I had an idea, you know, like what could we do with some of these circles? So I have cut the circles out. I used a die for these larger ones, and then these worked well with my 2-inch and my 2.5-inch. I was remembering the sizes punches. So these were all on one page in the kit. And I love circles. And I'm thinking if we do something on the idea of maybe a square. So let me look at some of the papers that I printed. I definitely I love this. Aren't those blues pretty? I love all of them. Let's cut a piece of this to a 6x6 square, just because I think it'll be fun to make one, and then I can always, it can go on a journal that is a rectangle that's at least, you know, 6 inches wide and 6 inches tall, or I could make a journal specifically, of course, to work with this size. We'll just make something. And again, if you like some of these ideas for the toppers, you can adjust them. You can say, I really don't want to do it on a square, and just do it on a rectangle piece, something like that. And I'm not sure yet what I'm doing. The hearts idea and the butterflies with the threes, the 3 butterflies, the 3 layered hearts, that really just made sense to me immediately. But this one, I see 25 and I think Christmas. This one I'm not sure. I'm just not sure yet. And so perhaps I will play a little bit and just get some different shaped elements together. Odd numbers always work really well when you're collaging. And so, like, now I have 3, and I'm not counting the base. So that's see how even here, the pre-made cards, there's 3. Again, I'm not a trained artist, but I definitely subscribe to that makes a difference. Okay, I am looking for something else we could layer for a little bit of interest. Look at these little worms. Oh my gosh. And I'm not usually a big feather person, but I'm wondering if the feathers or maybe the mushrooms would look good. It's a single feather. I said plural. All right. Here we go. Yeah, something like that. Get a little ink on there. I feel like I almost need something that is more solid because of the background I chose, but I'm liking it. Let's pick a quote. That will probably help too. When you have a dream, you've got to grab it and I'm mumbling. When you have a dream, you have to grab it and never let go. Carol Burnett. And I read that upside down. And I like Carol Burnett. I heard her be interviewed on a podcast, Wiser Than Me. So funny. She was awesome. Okay. That was a while ago, but all right. I liked the bird right here, and now I'm struggling. I think this needs to have something underneath it. And let me find one of these pages, and I may have, yes, a strip of a little bit darker, you know, something darker. And we will just use the little tear ruler. And get it like a little border around it. And that might make it stand out just a touch more. And I love this little strip. I don't know if you guys noticed that where I used it here, I mounted this card onto this paper and I turned it so that strip ran horizontally because I had this strip going vertically, and I just love it. I don't know, little things like that sometimes to me just make project. And again, when you have papers that kind of coordinate, it sort of does the work for you. All right, let me put this on here so I can see what I'm thinking. I like that there. All right, I think I'm going to put it down, and maybe we'll do some type of fabric or ribbon or something right there. Okay. There have been times when I've got a lot of pieces, oh gosh, on a collage. I will take a picture of it so that I don't have to rethink the placement 14 times. So sometimes that helps. And did I end up with an odd number? 1, 2, 3, 4. I did 5 after I talked about the odd number piece. That would have been funny. I guess I could have always added something else. Now, if I do a single, some other kind of embellishment, we may end up not with an odd number. Depends on how you count, right? Depends on how you count. This paper too, like if I thought about it right before I did this, and I might still set an eyelet right there. You know, the idea of getting some hardware and again, different textures, I think is a pretty good idea. So let's do that. I'll use that silent setter again because I can poke a hole anywhere on the paper and set it. And Amy, who is on my design team, she went on Amazon and actually told me that they do have these again. There didn't seem to be a lot in stock, but I did add it to my Amazon storefront if you want to go look at it. Let me decide what eyelet I want to use before I poke the hole, so I poke it the right size. Anyway, so if you are interested, that is an option. Okay. Silent setter doesn't always do the best on these eyelets, but we're going to try it. I sometimes feel like I have to have multiple tools to get the same thing done. All right, I'm using the piece that pokes the hole. And that alone, being able to put a hole anywhere on your paper you want, is kind of cool. It's got multiple layers to go through. Twisty, twisty. The other thing is, if I was doing what I was supposed to, if I put it on this harder mat, it would have helped as well. Okay. What do you guys think? Yeah, that's going to look cool. All right, let's hope it sets right. And I'm using the big one. So I'm going to use the big one here. Like I said, sometimes with these bigger eyelets, it just really doesn't want to do what I want it to do. It's getting there. It's getting there. And if you can find the eyelets that are already kind of pre-split, regardless of what setter you use, that's and it's flat enough. I'm okay with it. Probably get it a little bit flatter. There we go. Yeah, it looks nice, doesn't it? Yeah, it's not bad. And it's going to go on a journal cover, so that little bit of bulk will be fine. I think I found the one that has a little hammer that is not silent. It is quite loud because it's hammers. And so I may look at that one too with these and see if it does any better. But yeah, it flattened it okay. All right, so that gave us a little bit of some type of texture. And then I don't know if I even want to put a piece of ribbon on this one. I may wait and then decide what journal I put it on. I really like this one a lot. What do you guys think? Pretty, right? All right, so that was an idea using the circles. Now, let's go back here. And like I said, and this would just be great as a jumbo tag too. And you could layer this on some of that brown packing paper or some chipboard. But let's grab this and let me show you. I haven't, again, completely decided what I want to do, but there's a page of these labels They have different beauty, wonder, friendship, peaceful. I've got remember, imagine, together. And then this one, journal, I took, and I'm not going to use it, but I took my gold pen and I actually went over the letters before because I Mod Podged this to some chipboard and made these, or these few here, really nice and thick, and they have a fun texture. I used the matte Mod Podge, okay? And so it just has this great texture, and I don't think I want to go around all the letters, but I do think it would be cool to do something like this. After I did the journal, I went ahead and put some eyelets on it. I wanted to see how they would do, and these paint pens, they come in different, like a set of gold, like silver, I think white. What are they? Yeah. And these are my Amazon storefront too, if you need, want some paint pens or something like that. But I'm going to just do the little dots, I think. I'm just thinking what a fun, again, kind of feature on the front of a journal to have one of these plates. And especially, gotta be careful not to smear that until it dries, but especially giving it that extra thickness. Yeah, I said, don't smear it, Pam, and I just smeared it, putting the ink on there. But it's all right. It's not too bad. I can always add more later. Now, gotta decide if this is the right piece or if I want to do something different. Because I have all these pieces that I can use. Yeah, we're going to save this one and do something different with it in a little bit. I want to put this on here with something. So let's cut, and this is just one of the pages that you can print and use as signature pages. Love it. And again, it could go right in the middle if we want it to, but we're just going to think for a second. And I want to look at these flower fussies. I went with this kind of different color green, a little away from the teal. So I'm going to, I love the teal ones, but I'm going to steer away from that right now. That one's pretty. All right, I'm thinking, and again, it doesn't have to be right in the middle. It could be at the bottom, it could be at the middle. And I have other elements. There's that 25 again. And okay, this one says together. So let's see if there's some words or something. Always be yourself. Enjoy the small things. Life is precious. This is one of my favorites. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. I love that. Let's see. What would go with together? Or I could, if I wanted to use this one, the mind is everything. What you think we become, we could use imagine. So maybe we'll set that one aside and we'll use imagine. I'm going to worry about adding some detail with my gold pen later. But let's see. I think that kind of coordinates a touch better. Is we're going to imagine, right? Now I have two kind of rectangles. Ooh, look at that. Not that I want to necessarily cover up, but I could go to this one where I messed it up with that gold pen. Ooh, look at that. What do y'all think? It could work, right? All right, I'm going to do it. I may even put a layer of Mod Podge over this to give it the same texture and really, you know, adhere it. All right, let's just think about it for a sec. I've got that and I've got that. Another thing that might be fun to do is, let's see what it would look like if we thread a piece of ribbon. Come on, Pam. There we go. I don't know. And I'm thinking if I left it long, it could perhaps wrap around the whole journal. It's getting caught on that eyelet. Okay, so let's just imagine this is a journal, and then this could come all the way around, and then we could tie it, and it could be the closure. I'm going to leave it long like this just for that purpose, okay? And I'm almost feeling like maybe what we need are some of these doodads. Like another little doodad to go with the 25. Which are little tags, little numbers. I don't know. And again, sometimes I have all of these things selected before I get on camera, and then sometimes I do this. And you guys get to watch me think it through. All right, let me cut this one out. Kind of decided to do it a little bit smaller. Again, I think it's just too close to that shape. Nothing is quite, you know what? I'm not going to put anything else. I think I'm going to just attach this to this piece. And then if I want to add more later, but sometimes, you know, I think a journal cover that's a little bit simple is not a bad thing. All right, putting glue there so that doesn't slide. All right, we are going to try to go quickly because I don't want my glue to dry. And of course, this glue gun isn't always cooperating. We're going to put it right there. Quick enough, yay! Oh my gosh. All right, and then it's going to be in the front, and then we're going to tie it with this ribbon. It's going to wrap all the way around. It's simple, but if you want to add more collage elements or use a paper that's not as patterned, and then you could, you know, build the collage up. But I like that, and I love the thickness of the plate. Now, I am going to take my Mod Podge, and we will, just so that it has the same texture, all the way around. The little thread. Okay. And it just makes it feel good, if that makes sense. Okay, good enough. Oh. Try not to spill the cup of water, Pam. All right, I'm gonna set this aside by itself to dry. And then I think the next thing, we haven't used the fussies, but let's just do one of the butterfly ones so that you can get a sense of how I did that. So we'll come back here, and again, you don't have to use these. In fact, since I already have one on here to remind you guys, maybe I'll do one on this paper, because why not, right? And then I'll have a butterfly on each of these large kind of ledger papers, and then one here. Now, we can use the big butterflies, or we can use the smaller ones, and we'll just kind of decide as we go. I did enjoy putting some type of decorative paper behind, you know, as a strip. And I kind of like this with a little bit of neutral. So we'll just try it. We'll just tear a piece off. Let's go here. This is one of my favorite papers, I think. And I need to get it the right height. I'm not measuring. I'm just tearing, using this paper to help me see the size I need. All right. And if I want it a little thinner, I can do that in a minute. All right, so if I do these great big ones, do I have, and the smaller ones, you know, may fit on here better. This is a little bit smaller. It's a lot, but I like it. Okay, so let's think about those versus the ones that are this size. We do something like this. Oh, I kind of like the big ones. Again, not that we couldn't put other things, but let's do the big ones. It's fun. It's different. Okay, and I'm not going to glue anything down until I get everything inked. I'm going to pick out a quote. And let me just show you really quick too. This kind of idea of a base, a strip, a piece, like you really could go that simple and, you know, add more to it later if you felt like it. But if you're struggling with what to do on your covers, I think for me, like I said, sometimes just having almost like a little formula. Okay, we're going to do, I think I want to tear this just a touch. You know, we're going to do 3 things, or we're going to do 5 things, or something like that. It just helps. Okay. Whoa. Let me lay these back out. I'm thinking this one with the blue there, kind of get large, a little bit smaller, and a little bit smaller. And they're different shapes. Okay, and they need ink, but let's pick out either a quote or some words. Ooh, how about, I picked it up and I'm like, ooh, breathe it all in. For some reason, that just seems to make sense to me. And on the other ones, I put another like little ephemera piece, but I think I may leave this with just the words because there's so much happening with these large butterflies. But again, I do think it would give a wow factor to a cover. Or again, if you want to just put it on a page of a journal, use it as a tag, it would be fun. And you can write on the back of it like a journaling card, something like that too. And get the ink to just make the white not quite so bright. And I could have cut a little closer, but I think they look fine. When Elena sent me this kit to work with, she was like, yeah, and it's you know, going to be able, you can just make it super grungy, which I love. She said she loved that. And I was like, oh yeah. And you know, she's right, because you can leave it kind of, you know, a little bit clean or whatever, but I think the papers and the images do lend themselves really well to some ink, right? Here we go. Let's get it all inked. Okay, so I'm about right there. Now, recently I did a technique where I printed, okay, is this the same butterfly? Yeah, where you're like, we could glue one down flat and then we could put one over top and leave it up. I have done butterflies on a journal like that before and I loved it. It was super cute, all of that. But I think wear and tear wise and using the journal, I think because it's the cover, I'm not sure I would do that again. Or for one that, you know, I was going to use a lot or send out into the world, just because I just think they'd end up beat up and not look quite as beautiful as I wanted them to. Now, do we want to come off the edge a little or do something like that where they're a little staggered, or just straight up and down? I think I'm going to do them like this, just one right on top of the other. I don't think I'm going to stagger them too much, unless it just happens because of because of how I lay them down. But let's put this big one down first. All right, he hung off just a little, and that's okay, because they just fit on here, and I like that. Ooh, isn't it fun to have some new things to work with sometimes? Okay. But I think we have quite a few kits, or, you know, if you use digital papers or even scrap paper, that have butterflies. So even if you do this on a smaller scale, I think it would look fantastic. Okay. Happiness. We're going to breathe it all in. I'm going to put the breathe it all in more towards the top. I tend to put words for some reason more towards the bottom. So let's just be a little different and put it right there. And again, if you want to add a bow, if you want to, you know, you could weave something through there. I'm going to leave it. I am just loving these papers so much. I'm not feeling the need to overlayer. Let's look at what we have. I could keep going because I love it, but let's see what we have. And hopefully this gave you some ideas. So this was the butterfly idea that I shared from the beginning. These both have a piece of lace or a ribbon. All I did with this lace is did 2 slot punches and then wove it through the back. Okay. They have the quotes. Like I said, these have a few more little bits, but I love this one the way it is. That's the one we made. And then we did this one with the circles and a few other elements. It might be one of my favorites. And then what else did we do? Oh, the hearts. We did the hearts. Fun. Ugh, so pretty. I love that. And then this one, I'll go ahead and tie it. And the Mod Podge is about done, dry. Okay, and so that'll get tied actually around the journal. Here, let me put this one that we made. Okay, so that's what we made. We made 4. That's pretty good. Okay, I hope you like it, and I hope you find some papers and you work on building up a pile of items that could be really cool on the front of a journal. Okay? Have a great day, everybody. Until next time, thanks for watching. Don't forget that thumbs up. See you soon.